Test, 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 test. Hello. Test, test, test. 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 There we go. I come to the internet on the saddest day of my adult life. We put my beloved friend to sleep today. After 10 years, he had a brain tumor. And I'm super bummed. But I'm gonna try to do something to take my mind off it. We're trying to get a feel for the bounds of what I can use for my solar system size. I want to make the skybox exactly as big as it can be without flickering, and then I can use it as kind of the boundary that I can put stuff inside.
Hey, I'm gonna text you some old pictures that are in my text exchanges that I want to keep. By texting them, they'll be in our exchanges, our text exchanges.
Alexa broadcast.
What's the announcement?
Sounds good.
Announcing.
Sounds good.
Oh god. Was that the problem? Come on, flicker. Goodbye, my friend. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Alright, so world scale's in kilometers now. That means this guy is 1.1 million kilometers away, which is right around everything starts going fucking weird. Why does it do this? I don't understand. I'm gonna continue searching for some information on that. Sky sphere flickers when camera is far away from origin UE5. So sad. Post process, auto, exposure. could figure this out, it would solve a lot of problems. Is it distance from the directional light? Idea. So what about now? Do I get flicker? Yes. Right here. And it's right here. So that's not it. UE5 Skybox Flicker. Fuck you. How I fix this? Fucking terrible day. Terrible, sad, no good, very bad day. UE5 scene flicker when camera far from origin. True sky sequencing. Cloud glitching only occurs after the world origin has been shifted client side. Spectator is being teleported between 3 locations. Glitching, world origin, project settings, world origin. UE5 rebase, world origin. How do you set UE5 to 64-bit precision? Hello. No, one of the things I did recently was I integrated with Git and I set myself a little like pseudo scrum board here. And so this is like my plan. Yeah, I can up it. Let's try this. How about now? So this is like my mid midterm blueprint on what I have to do. Sorry, I'm scatterbrained. Today is not a great day for me. We had to put my dog down. So that sucks. Trying to distract myself. Yeah. Yeah, he had a brain tumor, and he wasn't eating. He was 18 pounds at his normal weight. He'd lost about 4 pounds in 2 weeks, and he had no quality of life left. He just would either sleep or walk around in circles in place. And so we figured that it was time. But we've had him for 10 years, so it's not easy. But, getting away from the depressing reality, right now what I'm working on is what I'm calling big and far tuning, which is trying to get everything to work at solar system scales. So all of this is a lot bigger than the last time you saw it. The distances involved are much greater. In fact, what I'm trying to figure out right now is why my skybox flickers when the camera is super far from origin. Like, this planet indicates about as far as I can get away from the camera before the skybox starts flickering, and this is about 1.1 million kilometers away. I also changed the unit size to kilometers, which is just arbitrary, I guess. Like, it could be centimeters, kilometers, whatever. 1.1 million units away. Everything works pretty consistently, although I just got a little flicker there. But if I go much further than that, it starts having problems, and I'm trying to work that out because, like, everything else scaled up pretty good. I also got some God rays coming from the sun here, which look weird when you're not running, but it looks a lot better when you're when the game is actually running and the directional light's pointing at you. So right now I'm hunting and scouring Google to see if there's anybody that talks about this flickering skybox problem. I also had some logic to make the skybox infinitely sized. Like right now, the only reason I have it sized here is kind of arbitrary. Like I could shrink this to 150, and even though it's over there, right, if I hit play, it all works, sort of. And what I did was I used like a post process and a depth layer so that this is supposed to always render in the back, and then I just always move the skybox to the player's location. And that seems to work pretty good. But I gotta figure out this flickering, because this is really the last thing in the way of me being able to it's all good. And so I'm just trying to no, it's all good. What I was saying is, like, what I've been working on is scale. So right now my farthest planet away has moved from like a few hundred to 1.1 million kilometers away. And all my planets are a lot bigger, and my star is a lot bigger. And I'm trying to get... is right now, the only reason this is only this far away is because I start getting this artifact with the skybox when I go a little bit beyond where it is. There it went. Where it flickers. And it's like on camera rotate, the skybox flickers when the camera is more than, let's say, 1.1 million units away from the origin. And I've turned on double precision. I'm basically trying to hunt down this issue, but it's not something that's commonly doesn't seem to be a common issue when I hunt it down. So I'm like scouring Google for any kind of hints to like settings that might fix this. Right now I want to make sure, like I checked on enable large worlds, but I want to make sure that world composition or world origin shifting, you don't want to increase the playable save. How do I do so it sounds like origin shifting might be useful. 60 blah 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 64-bit coordinates. But yeah, so I'm basically working my way through this. So once I get this done, this works pretty good right here. So like the star itself works good. These are kind of minor. This is what I'm working on right here. Both of the planet and the skybox perform pretty admirably. I'm going to leave those notes though. Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to do. They don't have to be life-size, but I'd at least like them to have a few kilometer diameter so that if you went down to the surface, it would look semi-flat. I mean, I could also make the player pawn small as well, and it's probably going to end up being some combination of the two because 1.1 million units is a lot, but it's probably not. Eventually. Eventually. Not immediately, but one day. But I just like, I'm trying to dial in, yeah, something like that. I'm trying to dial in the skybox scale so that if I'm within the bounds, it won't flicker. And then I'll use that as the available scale for a given solar system level. And once I've got all those numbers dialed in, then I can start working on a blueprint to generate all the other blueprints randomly. And that's kind of like coming up the pipe. So once I get all the scale issues worked out, then I'll know the bounds that I can spawn things in, and then I can start working on like parameterizing all that stuff, like how many planets are you going to have, some random number, how am I going to distribute them in the space, how am I going to randomize the orbits and things like that. Hello. We right now solving some pretty boring issues involving skybox flickering at extreme distances that are extremely challenging to figure out. Double precision, coming to fight at large world coordinates, so I mean, I turned that on. Bullshit, yeah. The other, so there's two kind of ways that, like, leads that I'm currently trying to chase down to fix this. The first, I thought I turned it on, but ensuring that I have 64-bit coordinates. That's my first step. And the second is going to be, yeah, and the second is going to be, I read a thing about transforming the world origin. So like once the user gets to like say 500,000 units, you could transform the world origin to where the user is, and then whenever the user gets that far away from your given origin, you could transform the origin again. I suspect that would fuck up my orbits because I'm pretty sure they're just orbiting the origin. So that would be interesting. Because it's a lot easier to have these guys orbit 0, 0, 0 and just always spawn my star at 0, 0, 0. Yes, so that's another thing that I've thought about. There's a few things I've thought about actually that are kind of similar along that train of thought that would definitely work, but it would kind of obliterate the chance that this would ever be multiplayer. So the two ideas that I have that I think would work would be to either so I was thinking about this because there's a big challenge in space games with scale because everything uses float precision, which goes like 6 decimal places or something. But as soon as you're like 6 decimal places, is if you're within 1,000 units, that's great. You can have very precise movement. But if you have 1,000,000 units, all of a sudden 6 decimal places isn't even a single, like it's not even a subdivision of a unit. It's a single unit, right? Like or more, and that's why you get like jitter in large scale games and stuff like that. So I've thought of a couple ways that you could do that. That you could have universal size coordinate systems potentially that would just work seamlessly. One of the ways you can do it is through scale. So you build everything at scale, but then you dynamically, like when you're moving faster, like it'd be way more complicated than this, but like the very Cliff Notes version of the idea is that you would, the faster you're going, the smaller the scale is. So you're not actually going faster. You're literally like dynamically scaling the entire solar system smaller as you move faster. And then as you slow down, you're scaling it back up bigger around wherever you're at in it, right? So like it's scaling around you. And that would be, it's like pseudo relativity, kind of like the whole idea that like time moves the same for you, but like from externally it looks like you're moving or everything outside of your perspective looks like it's moving slower as you move faster. You know what I'm saying? Like it's sort of like that idea. It's like as you move faster, everything gets smaller, so the distances get smaller. You're not actually moving faster, but you're covering the same amount of space, and then as you decelerate, everything gets bigger. So that's one idea. Obviously, this has implications for any kind of like multiplayer you would ever do because it's very client specific, but maybe multiplayer is optimistic for where my game is at right now, right? So that's one thing you could do. The other idea I had, and this might be able to work multiplayer, you would need everybody, you would need the actual world origin information of the solar system, of where your solar system is at in space, to be client side. And then instead of making your spaceship go faster, your spaceship doesn't move at all. Well, that's not true. You have pitch, yaw, roll, but you have no spaceship movement. What you do instead is you apply acceleration to the entire solar system. So like your camera could sit at the origin, and then when you accelerate, you're not accelerating yourself forward, you're accelerating the environment backwards along the vector of your motion. And that would work too, because all the artifacts that I'm getting are basically when the camera gets really far from the world origin. But if the camera just stayed here and all this shit moved around the camera, you probably wouldn't have that issue. But it's like, oh, this stuff is like, just figuring out the math for this stuff is a daunting task. But I don't hate the idea of, I think the scaling idea is I mean, they're both probably about the same difficulty. You have to figure out like all your curves on how things are going to scale and stuff like that. Yeah, it wouldn't, the only way it would work is if you were transforming each client's solar system locally. but maintaining like the overall state of the solar system on the server, and then it might work. But that's like that's a tall order for something that should just fucking work, because supposedly 64-bit world coordinates, which are in this game or in this engine now, are supposed to be able to handle like solar system size. What? You slow the player down. Yeah. Well, for like going to the surface, I'm not sure how far I can push the way that I'm generating these planets, because they're not tessellated and it's not dynamically generated. We're building them out of basically like component parts. So they can get really dense meshes, but even then, like usually when you talk about going down to the surface of the planet, you have to swap, because like the mesh that looks good from 100,000 kilometers away, it's going to be a tall order for that to also look good on the surface. You know what I'm saying? So normally you would do some sort of tessellation or LOD or shit, but like my whole goal here was to make it so that I didn't need LOD, because all the planets are using like nanite and shit, so I don't have to do that. Yeah. Well, I've talked about like something like No Man's Sky is really interesting to me. Just the like, because I've talked about how I really like genetic algorithms, and it's always been interesting. Yeah, what up, guys? And it's interesting to me. So, but like I also intrinsically kind of get an idea of how it works. Like, you could consider the way like it all boils down to having everything parameterized and understanding valid randomization range for every single like little minute detail of everything that can happen. And once you have everything put into this one long string of numbers or even binary, you can then fuck with that string of numbers with just a seed, and you can get entirely different outcomes. So it's like everything, the steps are, everything has to be parameterized so that like you can numerically control programmatically every aspect of anything that you want to randomize. And then B, you have to make like nested initiators or nested initializers that know what ranges each parameter can be randomized between and still look good. And once you got that, you have this huge number generator, but everything is random inside of it, so you can just feed it a seed and you get a different output. And then like something like No Man's Sky, so you know in No Man's Sky when you warp between stars, it puts you in a warp, but it's not actually a warp, it's a load screen, let's be honest, right? Like it's a load screen. They're doing the same thing that I'm sort of doing here, where they built a thing that will generate a solar system, but not necessarily a universe. But then they use a 64-bit number, a random 64-bit number as their seed for each star, like exclusive to, so that it doesn't repeat from the pool, right? So you end up with this ridiculously huge set of randomized shit that's all randomized within ranges, within acceptable ranges. Like you're never going to see, ideally, you wouldn't see anything that was like super fucked up looking or anything like that, because you've tracked down like what ranges can these numbers be between and still look good. And then your randomization isn't just like a pure random number. It's like, here's this range, give me a random number in this range, right? And that's how something like No Man's Sky can work. You start with your building blocks, but everything has to be modular, so it fits together like Legos. That's why getting your blueprints dialed in to where like they're perfect and like rock solid is super important. because once you have your blueprints, your modular blueprints dialed in perfectly, and you have like the sockets that they all socket into and socket together, then it should just work. And you don't like each level of order of magnitude of complexity you go up is actually less work because you've already built the component parts. Like right now, I had to build the star and I had to build the planets, right? But now I have a star and a planet, I'm going to have to build the solar system. I don't think building the solar system is going to be as difficult as building the star or the planet, because all I have to do for the solar system is generate some random numbers, feed those into an initializer for the star, generate a random number of planets I'm going to spawn at random ranges that don't overlap, apply random orbits within ranges to those planets, and then apply like different randomizers to the planet randomization itself and its like overarching attributes like size and things like that. So like I already have my building blocks now. So putting the building blocks together, yeah, it'll be a lot of shit, but then I'll have a solar system, right? And that solar system will be able to be started on a single number. So I'll be able to say, hey, give me a solar system for 0, and it'll always give me the same solar system for 0. And I can repeat that all the way up to integer max, and every single one of them will be slightly different. And once I've got that, all of a sudden, all I need is a loading screen, and I have a galaxy generator, right? And once you have that galaxy generator, all you got to do is increase the I'm trying to think of what you like. You know, like a 32-bit number versus like a 32-bit float versus 64-bit double. All you got to do is turn that seed up to 128-bit, and all of a sudden you have a random galaxy generator that gives you a set number of random galaxies. And that's exactly how No Man's Sky works. That's why there's 255 galaxies in No Man's Sky, because that's like their last order of magnitude, right? So you have all the variation within a single galaxy, but then you also have the ability to go to other galaxies up to 255 of it. And it's really like, as you go up the chain, it actually gets easier, even though you're generating something much larger and more complexity, which is why it's so important to get the very tiniest, like all your base level Lego building blocks have to be dialed in perfectly, right, for it to work. It's the most important part of it, which is what I'm trying to do right now. And I don't know, like in my experience, a lot of larger systems are like that in software engineering. Like the smallest parts of it are the most important to get perfect. Once you have all the bits and pieces, you can put them together. Yep. Planning, design, really important. Everything is obviously moving too fast right now, but if I put the orbits on like realistic amounts, it's too slow for me to like be able to debug very effectively, so they're just on fast mode. Cause like, and one thing that like I would be critical of with No Man's Sky is I think that their star map could make the game so much more fun if they perfected it. I think they should do like a top-down galaxy map, and it'll show you like your route lines, and it has like coordinates you can punch in, so like somebody could give you coords and you could just like, oh, this is where that person is. But not just that, instead of showing you like a warping screen as you're going between, make it like a mini game in the star map. So like you are at this star, like you're planning it out on your console, you pick this star, and it shows your ship like actually physically like flying a line between those stars, but from like a really super zoomed out view. And then you could add like dynamic events and shit to that sequence as well, and have things like pull you out of warp and stuff like that. Maybe. I haven't played Kingdom Hearts, but like I've always liked that. It's like the Indiana Jones style, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he's going from, you know, America to Egypt or some shit like that, and it shows his little plane with the arrow behind it, like going between the continents. That, but for galaxies or stars anyway. that's an idea that eventually I hope to implement in this once I have the whole solar system generator put together and I can reinitiate the level with a random number. Then you put like a little mini game GUI over the top of it while you randomize everything and let it play for a little bit. And you know, like you could, I don't know what that would look like. It would start as just a ship zoomed way out moving between two bright dots. But you could add stuff to it. Okay, so where was I? The fucking flickering. So I'm kind of debating, like, is this big enough? Is this planet being the max boundary of how far you could go in the game? Is that big enough for a single solar system? I mean, I guess so. I can control the acceleration of the player. The problem is scale here. Like, my big planets are basically as big as my star, so these are all gonna have to come way down. So I would say, like, in a cartoony solar system, half as big as the parent star is probably as big as you would ever want to have a planet. The problem is, like, the scale of motion. Like, I don't want to make the sun big because it cuts off a lot of space. Like, well, I guess I could make it. And also, I want it to be, like, if I get close to it, it's big. But if I'm at my max range, it's not big. I mean, it's still sizable. But I want there to be, like, a marked difference. And if I make it huge, it actually makes the difference. I feel like it makes the difference a little bit less stark. So, like, this I think is appropriate for, like, the closest planet. The sun looking like this is good. Second, third, this is not bad. Like, this would be like Earth. That's about, I mean, if you could look at the sun, probably about how big it is in the sky. I can also shrink the sun as the player gets further away, like you were saying. And that would be easier than shrinking the whole universe or the whole solar system. Yeah, and there it is. So, like, once you hit about this range, I start getting this, which I suspect is some floating point error somewhere, but so here's a fun idea. Let's try something. Okay, this is rotating the shells. This is rotating the directional light to point at the player. This I didn't end up using. I need scale. No, it's not the end of the star sphere. It's like, so I actually figured out how to make an infinite star sphere. That's not the problem. Like, if I go, this is actually cool. I was proud of this because this is something that I kind of figured out on my own, but cobbled it together from shit. So if I go in here, I've got the sky sphere, right? I'm going to make it 100, a third the size. So it would appear, but you see, it's even the background. Like, it's even the, like, base game background. It's some fundamental error with the renderer when I get beyond that point. Yeah. So But look where this sky sphere is, right? So this would seem like this will not work at all. But I wrote, yeah, it's like your scene contains a sky dome mesh. This is what you get when you don't have it. But you see, I'm still getting the flicker even on like their like error message. So it's not just like the sky dome at this point. It's literally like a renderer issue. But like, so this looks like it wouldn't work. But here's what's cool about this. I figured out how to make it so that, so normally you would expect this to occlude the stuff behind it. But I figured out how to make it render behind the stuff no matter what. Which means that now what I can just do is whenever the player moves, I can attach this sky sphere at whatever size it is to the player. And it's just always there. And it doesn't matter that it doesn't contain the objects in it anymore, because it would always render on top of them anyway. The only reason I have it here is because I'm trying to dial it. I'm trying to dial it in to the exact size that flickering effect starts. So I've been, I think 270 was the last place I put it. But I want to get, like, I'm trying to figure out. Jesus. I'm trying to figure out how to fix the flickering. Oh shit. No wonder. That's the source. I wonder. This is scaling everything, so like this makes the skybox super ultra far away because the skybox is already fucking huge. Yeah, it doesn't fix it. So this back to 1. Sky sphere to 270. So I'm basically trying to use the sky sphere as a boundary to tell me where is the furthest away I can put things without the camera going fucking nuts. Yeah. And then that's going to determine the bounds of a single solar system level, basically. So from here, do I get any flickers? That might have been one. That's definitely one. Okay. What about from here? So my farthest planet is going to have to come in just a little bit. Yeah, it's frustrating. And it's really hard. It's like a really hard problem to solve because nobody fucking talks about it. I think everything just has to be scaled down a little bit. Like, everything has to be smaller than it actually would be, and I have to also make the player pawn much smaller than like you actually would be. Like, if I make the player the size of like an ant, then that would probably help alleviate the effect a little bit. Why? What? What is going on here? Oh, also, I haven't committed for a while. Yeah, exactly. Range finding progress. But so you know how earlier I was saying that like everything has to be tuned perfectly. So that's what I'm doing right now. I need to find numbers. I need to figure out like what's the furthest my camera can get. That's going to determine the scale of the planets and the star. It's going to determine the speed of the player movement and all that shit. So I got I set it up to integrate with the Git that I have on my home computer for like little programming projects. So now I have like a legitimate source control, which is good. I did some like workflow shit a couple nights back. Like I made this plan that I'm working on right now. And I set up like a little mini one-person Scrum board in that text document. Is it just 1 million? Is that it? Like, is that what's going on here? Is it past 1 million? You're always going to get some weirdness. Not really flickering here. I think it's just going to be 1,000,000 kilometers. The system can be 1,000,000 kilometers. Next, we'll be figuring out what the scale of the planet should be for that. And the star. This is you. Let me see. I do like having a little bit of sky sphere buffer behind the last planet. At this point, I don't know what you would do to stop the player from like flying out. But actually, hey. Oh, if there's I remember what I was gonna think. I remember what I was gonna look at. Yeah, because okay, so I think hang on, let's find out how many decimals in a float. A float data type typically has 6 to 7 decimal digits of precision. So with a float, you can modify things by up to 0.000001. So the float, you can modify any number by that. So if you want to increase something, say you want to multiply it, that's the smallest unit of scale you can use. So if you have a number that's 100 million, all of a sudden taking 6 zeros off that is still moving you 100,000 units. Hence the issue. Yeah, I think I turned them on. Yeah, I looked at that. I thought I turned it on. Upgrading your project. Experimenting. Is there a little bit of you even left the UE4 21 kilometers? You can disable bounds check by accessing world settings class, enabling your enable large worlds. Is there a way to do it without fucking with? Well, I guess not. World settings. I swear I turned this on and it still fucking fails. But let's see. World settings. Class. This is what I turned on. This is not what you linked me. This is okay. Okay. Everything's coming together. I just looked at this, but I'm a dummy because this is Niagara. So I turned on large world support for my particles. I'm going to have to figure out how to do this. Let's see. Sick, guys. So, just here. Oh shit, am I not flickering? Hold up. Shit. I don't know if I actually did it though. I don't know how to do I don't know how to change the setting without do I need to go in a file somewhere? Oh shit, I'm flipped. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check the dog. You're right. Alright. Yes, I know about this stuff. When upgrading your UE project to UE5, generally and mine's already UE5. Default world max size has been left to the UE4 size of 21 kilometers. Engine check on the world bounds remains enabled. The two options for experimenting with the scale of your large worlds. Disable the bounds check by accessing your world settings class. Accessing your world settings class. Is that okay, let's do a more basic question. I haven't actually done any programming in this yet. But accessing world settings class. No, I want to try it. I think you have led me to realize that I only turned large world coordinates on for Niagara because when I searched the settings, that was all that was available. But I think what's going on here is there is a class somewhere, probably with some enums, or there's a config file that I actually need to change. Each level's world settings panel. It uses panel. What? Maybe. World partition. Yeah, I've only fucked with that the bare minimum. I generated a couple height map landscapes just to get my feet wet. Tried to do some auto materials right when I was starting. World settings panel. Found you. Half my issues are just trying to fucking find how to do shit. I know what needs to happen, but can I just turn this off? Oh shit. Oh shit. As you get further away, it's worse, so. Hey, but wait a second. It's just in the engine. It's just in the fucking editor. I'm not flickering. I'm really fucking far away. Oh, shit. I think that's going to do it. I still have to figure out the maximum size I want a solar system to be. But this is good because it means that if you fly beyond the bounds of the... I just had to find it. So, I'm going to tell you what happened. So what happened was I went in the game settings, which is where I've had to change shit like this before. And I'm like, this will probably work just like the other shit. So I searched large worlds. And that entry popped up. So I went to project settings and I searched for and this popped up. And I'm like, large worlds. And I didn't even look at it. And I'm like, yep. Close. Okay, everything should work now. but it did not. But this appears to have worked. And that means I can have my infinite sky sphere. So let's really put it to the fucking test here. How far can I go before the star just disappears? So now you would be at like actual like interstellar distances. I think it did. It doesn't work in the editor, probably because the editor. What I'll say is that this is way further away than it was working before without flickering. So like, yeah, I think this is good enough. No, it was here. So I didn't have this window open for some reason. No, I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to enter a console command. It's just this, which is what is, yeah. It's probably just being read as a Boolean, so it'd probably fuck it. It probably would either ignore it, because usually something like that is just a flag. Because it's not like they have the ability to do 128-bit, you know? 88 million kilometers will do. That's enough. But yeah, so like you see how it still fucks up in the editor? Because they're probably not bothering to use that level of precision in the editor. No, I tried punching it in the console command, but it didn't do anything. So now what's going to be fun coming up is getting some like momentum and acceleration based player movement where like you start accelerating and we'll put a top speed on it, and top speed will be like your inner solar system cruising speed. I'm pretty sure it was when I checked this enable large worlds box that it started working. Like I even like, you know, when you have been like banging your head on a problem and then like something presents itself and it's so like completely obvious that you're like, oh, all of a sudden you would wager like $50 that it'll fix it. That's kind of how it felt when I saw that checkbox. I'm never gonna get there in like game speed right now until I alter the player's movement, but yeah, maybe. I think they're both probably just controlling the same Boolean flag. Yeah, I guess they. I mean, like, so to be fair to Unreal, 88 million kilometer world space is a very niche case. It's really only space games. You know what I'm saying? Like, only space games need that much distance. Almost, like, I can't think of another game that would need that scale, you know? Like, 21 kilometers is a lot of space. If you're building, like, a dense, curated game world that's not procedurally generated and isn't meant to be like a solar system. If you're trying to build a solar system, 21 kilometers is like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. Minecraft is another procedurally generated world that's arbitrarily large on however many bits of a number you want to feed it. But this is great. Like, I just had to check a checkbox and I just didn't know where it was. I've been bashing face on this problem for like 3 hours probably. This is the kind of stuff that you can chalk to my inexperience in the engine. I know it needs to happen. I don't know how to do it. Okay. So now, I think that let's check reality. So Orbit distances of the solar system. Yep. UMG BPO up? What is that? Oh, blueprint. Yeah, I'm new to the slang too. I've thought about taking a pay cut and trying to find a job doing it though, because I'm like, I make enough money. Yeah. Orbital lengths and distances of objects in our solar system. Boom. I just want to know, like, if it was going to be... Okay, distance from the sun. Yeah, we can't do this. But we can scale it down and then scale the player down. Mercury, 36,800,000 miles. Venus, 67,200,000 miles. Earth, 93 million miles. Mars, 141.6 million miles. Jupiter, 483.6 million miles. Saturn, 886.5 million miles. Uranus, 1.783 billion miles. Neptune, 2.8 billion miles. Pluto, 3.7 billion miles, roughly. Pluto goes around the sun once every 248 years. Neptune goes around every 165 years. Uranus is 84 years. Saturn is 29 years. Jupiter is 12 Earth years. Mars is 2 Earth years. Earth is 1 Earth year, obviously. Venus is 7 months. And Mercury is 3 months. So, obviously I can't do that scale. But what I can do... Yeah, Pluto takes 248 years to go around the sun. I mean, that's not a planet anymore, right? They demoted it. But Neptune takes 165 years. And that still is a planet. It's really fucking far away. It's 2.8 billion miles away from the sun. I'm sure that's the average because it's an elliptical orbit, but yeah, it's crazy. Everything is fucking big, dude. Like, real big. Yeah, I know. It's like it's like the fucking Tim and Eric meme with him like Pwah. But what we can do is let's go ahead and start from scratch. Get rid of this. I'm going to have this like real solar system distances here. I'm going to delete everything but the closest one. Alright, so this is at 0. We're going to say it's sun-sized for now. We'll figure that out in a minute. So if this is Mercury... then it is, we're going to say, right now we're at 36 million miles. How about we take 2 zeros off it, and we'll make it 368,000 miles, or kilometers, or whatever the fuck. All the measurement is just arbitrary anyway, right? So here's Mercury. Here's Venus. This is at 672,000 kilometers. Okay. We're going to make use of our newfound big world coordinates. It's in the pipeline, man. Like here. This is how we're doing it. Right now, we're polishing up our building blocks, and after that, we're gonna make initializers for the acceptable randomization ranges of all the stuff that makes up a solar system. And that's going to be here. This is stage 1. After that, I will probably actually do it like this. So once I can initialize a solar system with a randomized value, I'm going to build a spaceship. I'm not going to build all the weapons yet. It's just going to be the static mesh and the flight model. Eventually, I want to come up with like some equipment scenario for it. I always like mech warrior hardpoints, or like maybe a block layout, sort of like shit. What was that game? It was it came out recently. FTL, where like the ship has like an overhead like equipment view where everything's got like little blocks, and then you could build like little, like your equipment could be like little Tetris blocks, and like you can fit like how many guns can you put on your ship. Well, it depends on what kind of guns and what shape the blocks are and stuff like that. But that's like that's far away. Like the first thing would be flight model, static mesh, right? So control scheme. I have a few different types of weapons that I eventually want to have. So like flares to drop rockets. I won't like homing multiple rockets because I always thought that like the Macross rockets where they've split into like 100 little rockets is cool. Regular just homing torpedo type things, a hit scan weapon and a travel time weapon. That's what I'm going to start with. And then at some point we'll get a level transition to be able to reinitialize the solar system to a different one. For stage 1, it's just going to be like a warp load screen. But I like the top-down galaxy map that I was talking about. I'm going to come up with something like that. Yeah, exactly. And it's always such a cool effect. Like you give each of them like really shitty tracking, right? Like just the very shittiest tracking, but you spawn like 50 of them, so they're going to get hit with like 5 or something. And if they're bigger, they get hit with more. I've always been a sucker for that effect. I'm pretty sure I have some pretty good ideas on how to do that with the Niagara stuff too, like from playing with it for the solar flares. But first, my building blocks. So this was Venus. Yep. This is Earth. Yeah, okay. This is Mars. One million 400,000. So now that we had like this is the true test of the like change we made to the scaling and shit, because these are gonna be really fucking far away. $483. Oh my god, it's so far away. Let's see if it still works. Yeah, but I can't see it because I'm still too far away. That is not a bad idea. You can also use the little comment boxes around pieces of your blueprints that kind of describe what they do. Oh. So, the further away you go, there's going to have to be logic for this in the scaling. Because I have to multiply or divide the orbit speed by, like, the total distance. I can't just randomize a simple number, because if I'm really fucking far away and my orbit speed is the same speed as it would be if I'm right next to it, then the planet is traveling like light speed. Oh man, it's sick that you can still see the star from this far away and it's still giving off a little bit of light. I wish that, like, I haven't put a player pawn in this, so I just have the default camera. I wish it was a little faster. Alright, so this is number 7. He's at 4.83 million. I think I have to chop a 0 off everything, because this is going into the billions. Which, so the furthest one, chopping 2 zeros off. Actually, I don't. If it truly is 88 million kilometers, the furthest one that I'll have would be 36 million kilometers. So let's try it. Yeah, it still should be good though. 36. 36 should be fine. 886. Oh, wait. Did I not clone that? Oh god. So this is 1, 2, 3, 8.86 million. Oh my god. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. It's gonna be a pain in the ass to deal with the scene. If it's this big is the only problem. I just wanna see, like, it's an experiment for me at this point. $17.8 million. Yeah, not a bad idea actually. I mean, the fastest camera is pretty fucking fast. But oh yeah, you're right. I can just I think I could actually just double click the planet, right? And get like close to it. And that works. Oh my god. Focus with F. Okay, cool. Good to know. So this was Uranus. We're just gonna go to Neptune because Pluto's not a planet. Fuck you, Pluto. 280. Oh my god. It's so fucking far away. Oh, right. Yeah, Pluto's a bitch. So, I mean, that probably is what what the sun would look like from fucking Neptune. To be fair, it's just like, I mean, it should be brighter than that. That means the sun's got to be bigger though. Easy fix. Everything can be huge now. And everything actually needs to be much bigger than it is right now. Because everything's much further away. Like, orders of magnitude further away. Yeah. We'll figure out something. Like, that's just part of the game design. Like, you can't let people get stuck permanently. You gotta give them a fucking gun so they can shoot themselves in the head when that happens. Alright, so here's our sun, and it's like legit big. I'm even like even numbers. I'm also going to kill the player when they get like... Because if you get real close to the sun, it doesn't look that good. But from like any kind of reasonable distance, it actually looks really sick. But when you get really super close, I can't even like... The in-game camera is useless now because everything is so fucking big that like I'm pressing W, I'm not moving. Yeah, I'm just going to like... I'll just start melting them when they get about like here. And then by the time they get like here, they'll be dead. Yep. Exactly. Okay, so let's get some planet sizes. Mercury? No, that's too big. I feel like that's a good Mercury size. I mean, it's honestly, that's way bigger than Mercury actually is, or the Earth. But we got to make some concessions to the game. So Mercury's like a 20. That would make Venus like a 40. I don't know. I didn't play that one. Earth, if Venus is a 40, Earth will be a 60. And Mars will be a 50. Or like a 45. And then Jupiter can be pretty big. I mean, really, it'd be more like... I mean, by this point, you're far away from the sun, far enough away from the sun to where I could actually have the planet be like the same size as the sun. I don't think anybody would even realize. So we'll do 140 for Jupiter and 100 for Saturn. And 80... Maybe 70 for Uranus and 80 for Neptune. There we go. Okay. Oh my god, it's so far away. Alright, and there we have it. The problem is now everything's gonna be too fast. Wow. So here, this will be kind of fun. I can take... I'm curious as to how far with the naked eye I'm going to be able to see these planets moving around. That's the one we slowed down. I think. What happened to their orbits? Yeah, it's cool, I agree. Like having it be really fucking big like that is cool. And like at some point I'm going to have to get to blendering and make a bunch of better assets to generate the planets from, because like this, for instance, okay, so this is right next to the sun, so I'm going to change this actually, and I'm going to use this shitty Mars I made on all of it. But eventually I want like a basket, like I want like folders of building blocks that go for like different types of planets. And then like the randomizer would, know based on like how far away from the sun you are, like it would have greater odds for picking different types. Like ice would be really far away, hot planets up close, and then you have like a temperate zone where you render some temp and stuff like that. But that's Mars. That'll come in like phase 2 of the solar system generator. The first phase is just going to generate a bunch of randomized shit that looks okay, with no regard to like how far away it is or anything like that. That's what my planet generator does pretty much. Like I mean, you can see like the building blocks kind of here. It basically takes a set of 11 meshes and iterates them around the vertices of a smaller sphere, like rotating them and scaling them minor random amounts each time. So you can kind of control the feel of the planet you get based on what building blocks you provide to it. Yeah, the problem is I'm not super great at Blender. Because I haven't done a lot of it. Oh, it's still way too fast. Rotation speed is too fast. Hello? Oh, I'm too far away. I forgot that everything's actually fucking huge now. It does make working with the scene more annoying for sure. So now my close planet is like a kind of... Sure. I'm always willing to take any kind of input that will help me learn how to do stuff. My player character is not even remotely close to fast enough. I'm not even going to be able to catch it. I would take the water sphere off this as well, but yeah, well, no pressure. I'm not trying to be like a big streamer or anything. The main reason I started streaming it was just an easy way to record all the videos of myself doing it, because I might want to like create a video series on it from them at some point. Copy, Timmy, Paul. Setup. So like I know that so about the extent, hang on, actually, you know what? I'll show you about the extent that I've been able to figure out with Blender. Pick up Discord. a lot. It's probably going to blow my computer up when I try to export this. I would turn wireframe. I guess I could just do edit mode. And like that mesh right there is dense as fuck, right? But like even that is not like, it's not remotely close to dense enough to replace like tessellation if you wanted to go down to planet level. It would need to be like 10 times, maybe less, because like you could think of from a planet size, every single one of those triangles would be like a kilometer. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways to do it. The problem is that none of them really work with nanite. I mean, that's not true. I read something about, I'm trying to remember what it is. I think I actually have a better grasp on the idea behind it, but I read something about hierarchical mesh generation. Hierarchical procedural mesh generation. I think the idea is that you can do basically what I was doing to generate the planets, but then at the surface level of those, you can have smaller, like as you get closer, you can have other smaller assets that like get generated, or something like that. And you can because it's nanite stuff, you don't have to have levels of detail still. It's just that like you start loading those things right when they would be like almost 1 pixel in view, right? Like you still load a lot, but you're not loading everything. Because like if you're on the surface of this planet, one thing I hate about swapping between Blender and UE5 is because if you get used to the movement in either one of them, it totally fucks you when you go to the other one. So yeah. So the idea here would be like you could build a world on this sphere, but then you would map out portions of that world at smaller scales that would have, it would be pulling in other, it would be procedurally generating other nanite assets. And if you do it, and you do that when it's like, it'd be way further than your normal LOD load-in scales. Like you would start generating it when you're certain distances. I have no idea, Green. I haven't even gotten into building level, like I haven't gotten into any kind of like level generation. I've built some in the I think it could, but I have no idea how to do that. And I don't know if you could do it with no load screens or like pop in or anything like that. I mean, this whole project initially started out as just like, hey, can I build, like, I haven't done any Unreal ever. Can I make it generate a nanite procedural planet? Like, I didn't even intend necessarily for this to ever be a game. It was just like a challenge I set before myself. Yeah. I think you can do stuff like that. I just don't know how. That would be like a whole learning experience for me that may come down the line. Okay, so like about as far as I've gotten with this is I can do like, I can take like layer and I can map on some continents. Right, and I know how to do like, I know how to like smooth out the coastlines. To like an acceptable level. And then I know how to do things like pinch up mountains and stuff, but it never ends up looking good when I do it. And that's what I mean by like, it's not necessarily that I don't know how to. Yeah, it does look good. I wish this was enough density. Fuck. Like the controls give me every fucking time. And then I know how to do stuff like come down here and you can like you could carve out a river. You could I think this was one of the it's too small. I think this is one of the things that was cool for like mountain ranges, but it never ends up looking good when I'm done with it. Never. I haven't gotten one that I was completely satisfied with yet. I not necessarily want to walk on it, but I definitely want it to look good from like outside, like just outside of the atmosphere range. Like, I would concede that with the way I'm currently doing this, I don't know that I would ever be able to like effectively make you can walk on the planet type game. But still, it's going to be a nanite asset, so it doesn't really matter how many polys it has, sort of. Yeah, well, there's a large there's a lot that would go into me being able to do that. That like I recognize my limitations at this point in time. Like maybe in like if I keep doing this for like a year, maybe that would be fun. That would be fun, and like the cool thing about doing it the way I'm doing it, where you build everything so that it can be generated procedurally, is these are building blocks that I could use for any number of games. Yes, using like a height map or something is probably the answer, but what I think is actually, yeah, Platinum, I actually like that. Yeah, you can. Well, you can. So what I've thought about this, like what would be ideal would be for me to figure out. So you know how to generate like pictures with noise and stuff, right? And you can. I know that you can use that with certain functions to build realistic looking surfaces. A big problem with that is that you can also use that to deform spheres, but like the UV mapping that base height map has to follow is real fucking specific in that case. So if I could figure out how to procedurally generate randomized noise patterns that look like landscapes and how to programmatically wrap it around a sphere, then that would be like really cool for me. But that's a lot. Like it's a it's a lot to understand to make that happen, I think. That's fucking cool. If you begin with the start sphere, they are perfectly unwrapped. Yeah, it's not so much the problem of the UVs of the sphere, it's the texture that you generate to go on the sphere. Like the height map, you have to know how to, because the height map has to not have seams when it wraps around the sphere. You know what I'm saying? As far as for like doing it with height maps, yeah, or not auto landscape displacement textures. So like some kind of automated height map generator that will spit out perfectly scaled textures to wrap around a sphere as a height map. It's actually a challenge. Like you have to figure out how to generate a height map randomly that will be seamless when wrapped around a sphere, and how to take that height map and put the image. You know how like UVs always look like stretched and shit. You got to figure out how to make it like match the UVs as well. It's just a lot. The the extremely incredibly fast planets just zooming along. I wonder what life would be like on a planet that actually moved that fucking fast. Probably lethal. I can't imagine you would be able to maintain much of an atmosphere. Well, I mean, I guess it's all relative, right? So, could be possible. Gravity's going to be a thing too. What I'm realizing is that when you put these orbits in, you need like real system-wide gravity in order to be able to fly a spaceship around it. Because like you would be getting pulled relative to the planet in your spaceship. So like you wouldn't just have your velocity, you would have like the added velocity of the thing that you're in the gravitational field of, which is what would allow you to like actually orbit an actual planet in a real gravity system. I'll have to figure out a way to fake it. I would probably just make it so that once you get inside like a certain range of any of the planets, it'll automatically add the planet's motion vector to your player motion vector or something like that. Like you got, oh, you know what you could do? You could lerp. So you could get the motion vector of the planet you're at, and you could have like a min distance, let's say 500 units, and a max distance of, let's say, 1,500 units. And between 500 and 1,500 units, you could warp your velocity with the planet's velocity, and it would feel kind of like you were getting captured in its gravitation. This will all come when the flight model comes, though, like when I start working on that. It's just an idea to keep track of. I'm actually going to add it. I'm just going to add it at the end and then order it later. Planet, gravity, warp, between player, vector, motion, and planet, motion, vector, and range. I think it might. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think it's worth a shot. Say 1,500 to 3,000 km. Over that range, you would basically do 0 to 1 as your. So you would basically do. You would do one multiple that's 0 to 1. That like at 1,500 it would be 1. At 3,000 it would be 0. So here is the boundary of where you start getting affected by the gravity. Here is where you're at like maximum. It's not going to affect you any more than it already is. And then at 1, I would do like multiply. So we'll call this gravity scale float, and player movement vector plus you vector add planet vector times gravity scale. Maybe something like that to let the player get captured by the planet's gravity. So at max gravity, within 1,500 kilometers, you would just always have the entire planet's motion added to your motion. So whatever the planet is doing, you're doing that plus whatever you're doing. But at like halfway between these two, you would be at a 0.5. So you would add your movement vector plus half of the planet's movement vector. So it's not affecting you as much. And there'd be like a gradient as you come in, maybe. I don't know. It's an idea. Yeah. Something. Or just attach player to planet within range, something, and then you give the player the ability, like, you detach when you pass a certain range from the planet or something like that. This is kind of that, except just with the, like, gradual attachment. Okay, so I think this works. So let's go ahead and figure out some good default values. That's the next thing. Like, I have to get all of this looking good now. It's funny when you go yellow it gets green. I guess it's because it's like I'm multiplying the color value. Something like that. Internals. Something like... The shell is very bright. Wow. What about 0? Okay, it's definitely there. Okay. I like that. Okay. Just a nice big yellow sun. These are like the defaults that I will, like, I have to come up with a bunch of ranges for all these values. So the easiest way to do that is come up with a baseline for everything that looks pretty good, and then randomize that by like a fraction, and see if it still ends up looking good, and kind of tune those that way. I have to come up with that for everything. So yellow's good. Luminosity, I like the size. Yeah. Oh no, that won't work. Oops. Yeah. It's always fun. I wonder if I'll even be able to see the solar flares with this, or if the displacement map is pushing it beyond the range of them. I don't think I can see them right now. Okay. Obviously, that's a little much. And then it should gain the God Ray color of... I'm a little confused by the, like, post-processing here, because it's giving me red, but I'm actually... I don't think I'm setting it to red. I think it's supposed to be set to the yellow of the outer shell. So I was trying to figure this out yesterday too. It's over here. Right here. Set bloom tint. The value's coming from a cast from a lerp with the shell color, which is yellow. So this should be like a white yellow. And it works for the light. And it works for everything else. But it doesn't work for the bloom tint. But I guess that's always something that I can just figure out later. All right. Finish tuning whatever on the star I want to do. Good. How much of that do I want? I mean, that casta, it's almost like not super great that it's camera based rather than like a global effect. I'm still gonna have it, but I think it has to be low key because of that. If I make it super intense like this, it's very like jarring. Also, this is what I don't know. Why is my core controlling my God rays? I don't understand that. Nice. Or do I just turn off the God rays for the moment? Since they're not working super great. Because we have... I could also do... nice. I could also do this. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have been trying to set the bloom tint, and I should have just been letting the natural light that's coming out of the star do it via the exponential height fog. I think that's actually, or the post-processing, this. Huh? What do you mean? There it is. Okay, right now all I'm getting from this is the lens flare, which is fine. I need that anyway. Exponential height fog doesn't have anything to do. Oh. I remember. It's here. So I don't think I worry about the tint. I think I fundamentally misunderstood what the tint was. Bloom scale. I didn't do much. That didn't do much. Jeez. So now I have an idea. So if I've got that, and I go here, and I change this to whatever color I want. Yeah. It's because this is generating the most light. So whatever color this is going to change is going to control the color of light that it puts out. Is what it looks like. And then whatever and then whatever the other color is going to determine the apparent surface color. It also contributes a bit of light. That is too much. Test it with a blue star, lower luminosity. It's actually just a blend because it's computing the colors. Like this is like, it's not 50-50 because it's hard to balance the brightness between the two. But it's definitely a blend of green and blue here. Pink and blue. That looks... Something about these neon pink stars, I just really like it. But we're going to make a default star with default star colors. Okay, there's that. That planet will always be a rock. And there's no water on it. I will say that this is obnoxious. Okay, that might be a little bit more manageable. Zoom! Is there still one way over there? There is! I was able to pick it out. Is that still one more? Hang on. It is! It's so far away! That's nuts to me. I'm really happy that I got that issue worked out today. Okay, this truly is as far away as we can get. I'm getting a little bit of weirdness there with this, with the sun. I probably have to turn off my particles once I pass a certain distance away. I suspect. It's cool that you can see, you can just barely pick them out as you're going past them. What I'm probably going to end up doing is reducing this whole system distance by an order of magnitude, which makes me a little sad. Oh god. It's an unfortunate experience for anything on that planet. Hang on. I do like the size. I just think that it's a little bit much to deal with. So, what if we just... Can I do this? Oh, you can! Mind blown. No, I didn't know. I didn't know you could do that. I mean, I do now. I think realistic scales aren't super great for a game just because you can't see anything from anything else. Like if you're the furthest away you can be, you can't see like anything. You know. All right. I think that it's like the scale here I think is really important to get, and it's tricky because I want to be able to see like the nearest two planets pretty well, but I gotta figure out that artifact thing too. I'm not worried about it for the moment though. These are all the same seed planet too, so they all look the same, but I can change that. They're just placeholders for the moment. Okay. Okay. One of these planets was not moving at all. Well, I mean, it's moving. The one that's furthest away is going way too fast, and this one is going way too slow. So, here? No, that's not right. Here. And here. And here. Be this is where the challenge is going to come in, because I'm going to have to come up with a formula to make it so that it adjusts the orbit speed based on how far away it is. Yeah, I had a friend who played a lot of Kerbal, and I'm aware of it, but I didn't play that one, no. Sorry. like I'd like to be able to like sort of pick out the faraway planets with the naked eye, but the close-in ones should definitely be able to be seen. Let's take a bird's eye view. The faraway one moves so damn fast, even though it's actually one of the smaller ones. But it's not, so like this number is not a velocity, it's an angle. So like 0.1 is not you move at 0.1 speed, it's you complete 0.1 out of 360 degree of a 360 degree revolution per tick. I guess I could probably try to figure out the math to change change a distance. It'd be, you'd figure out the tangent to the circle drawn by the position of the planet with the star as the center, and then you can figure out the tangent of that, and you can apply motion to the planet along that tangent, perhaps. And if you could do that, then you could get elliptical orbits, because you would be able to change the way you get that value. Like you to get an elliptical orbit out of that, you could put the distance, your radius from your planet that you're gonna apply the motion to on like a sine wave or something. I don't know. I'd have to investigate that. There's a lot I don't know. Like I think I have a lot of good ideas on stuff to investigate, but like there's a lot of digging. Yeah. Basically what I'm saying is you could control the distance of the vector calculation with a curve. I don't know what the curve would be. I don't necessarily know what the math is. I think I know how to get it though. So like if I really wanted to test this theory, this is where it's currently rotating and moving. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah. I actually don't hate that idea. And you could control the distance of the planet, and then you would just have to figure out how to convert velocity into degrees from the range. And you could do that because you could figure, so and I could do point set location or add location. I'm not sure what you mean. Well, I have tomorrow off, and I had today off for the ordeal that I went through. So I'm gonna be doing some more tomorrow as well. I think you want to do add to its current. Yeah. I see what you're saying. So like rather than set world location, I could. The problem is I'm using this, which is not ideal, but it's easy. For what we're describing, I wouldn't use this anymore. I would use what I'm trying to figure out right here, which is I have to figure out how to get angle. How do I get the? So to do what we're talking about, you would control the planet distance, but I don't even think you'd have to control the planet distance. You could do it like a real orbit. You could do you cast a vector direction to your star, and then you get the tangent, and then you project an angular velocity somewhere along that tangent plane, and then you can change that velocity angle to alter your orbit into an ellipse. Or no, I guess distance of the spawner. Yeah. So I think you're right. Like using a cam boom, and I tried that and I wasn't able to get it to work, but I didn't dump it. There's two things that I'm usually doing. I either pick something that I know I want and then I just face bash on it for days until it works, or I'm like brainstorming, like trying shit out, you know. And this one was just a result of me trying shit out and getting something that would rotate. But it's not really the right way to do it. I think you're right that the right way to do it is to attach a cam boom to programmatically at spawn time, attach a cam boom to the star with the planet attached to it, apply angular velocity to the planet with no fall off in a tangent direction to the boom, and then you can control, and then you just leave that, and you can control the boom length with a timeline, like you were saying. I think that would probably be the easiest way, but I did want to see if this was possible. So how do I get the angle between 2 points? Is it look at function? Find look at rotate. Find relative. Find look at rotation. So I can take these two. And this will give me the angle to look at it. There's no tangent. Oh well, fuck it. I'll figure this out later. I'm gonna have like a whole day devoted to like this if I'm gonna do it. But I do need to figure that out before I set about making the solar system generator, because the way I do my orbits is going to be contingent on how I randomize the orbits. Let's see. Okay, so let me go back to my checklist here. So this is great. Boom, gone. And I'm pretty satisfied with this. There's going to be a little bit more. Yeah, exactly. Like that's how, like, I've always found for software engineering is that like the most, like, people think the most valuable attribute is how smart you are or how well you know syntax or blah blah blah. No, the most important thing is how fucking persistent are you, and how resistant are you to getting discouraged for smashing your face on a problem for like a week with no progress. Because if you keep smashing your face on that problem, eventually you will break it down. I think we're good on the big and far tuning. But this, it's gotta wait. And actually, coincidentally, orbits are next on the menu because I want to get to the level where I can initialize the solar system. And we were just talking about how... So... yeah. It's like the... Oh, man. One of my biggest pet peeves will be like, you go to Stack Overflow, or in this case, you go to the Unreal Engine forums, and you have a specific question in mind, you search it on Google, or you search it on one of those websites, and you go there, and the only answer, or the most highly rated answer, will be, why would you do that? You could do it like this. And it's like, yeah, but what if there's a reason I don't want to do it like that? And then that's the only answer. And it's like, bro, you didn't answer the question. You just told me to do something fucking else. And it's like, a lot of times, like, you have a reason. Like, when I was searching for the scaling stuff and having no luck, one of the answers I saw was like, it's big enough. The only okay, so it was like, there was a question on the forums, like, how do I make my scale like this huge scale, right? And the only answer on it is, why would you need to do that? 21 kilometers is big enough for anything but a space game. And that's all. That's the... It's like, motherfucker. Okay. Orbits. So I think that, honestly, my best bet for orbits is going to be a new level. And just work it from scratch in a new level. What the fuck just happened to the ground plane? Oh well, I don't need it. And I'm gonna make... Well, I have no idea what has gone terribly wrong with this scene. Oh. My camera speed is at galactic scales. Yeah. Or, well, I mean, it'll be... Yeah, it's very frustrating because, like, I'll be at work. I'll be, like, looking for some extremely, like, fucking application environment specific thing, right? And it's like, I know I can't do it the normal way people do it because, say, the network security of the operating environment is going to be, it's not going to be like your, you know, standard business website. Maybe it's for like the DoD or some shit, for like shit like that, and they have like crazy high security standards, and it has to, like, you can't do things necessarily the way you would normally do them. And you'll go, like, ask something specific, like, oh, you know, how do I do encryption under this scenario or something like that? And the only answer is like, why would you do that? That's stupid. Just use the third-party library, bro. Alright, so I've got a sphere. And I want him about right here, and I want another one. And I want him to be like 1. No, that's not enough. 100. Oops. Wait, shit. No wonder I fucked it up. I thought I added a sphere. There we go. 1, 2, 0, 0, 0. Copy. Paste. 100. Nope. 100. Yep. Alright. Figuring out an orbit with math. This is going to be probably a long journey. Not daylight cycle scripts. Yeah, that's one thing that I'm going to look up is the timeline. I'm sure that I can probably find this information. Like, there's probably somebody who's specifically done a tutorial on an orbit. So I'm actually going to go do some Google Foo real quick. Planet orbit in UE5. Creating a solar system, planetary motion, orbiting planets. Bro, this video came out yesterday. Holy shit. Talk about a topical. Oh, Jesus. 2 videos were playing at the same time. My son looks better than his. I probably spent an order of magnitude more time on it than he did. It looks like he just grabbed a texture, sun texture and stuck it on a sphere with high emissivity. It will eventually be in the same, like the solar system generator will be a top level blueprint that contains the smaller dudes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he just slapped together a sphere with a sun texture on it and multiplied the emissivity a shitload. I tried doing a spring arm a couple days ago and I couldn't figure out how to programmatically attach it to both entities. I only did it for like an hour, but I was having trouble getting, because like all this stuff is generated at runtime. So whatever solution I come up with has to be like, it has to, because it's all randomized. Yeah. See, that would be, it's got to be, I have to, like, any kind of settings that have to change with it, and any kind of like attachment stuff has to happen when the, not necessarily when the scene starts, but no, actually it does have to be when the scene starts, because that's when because before the scene starts, we don't even know what the solar system is going to look like, because you don't know what seed's going into it. Right now, the way I'm rotating them is the shit that I'm using just rotates around the origin, and you can move the origin through the script. So, like, if we did it with a spring arm, I think you could do, because I do want moons. Because like with the tools I already have, there's no reason I can't generate moons. Like the planet generator will already do that if I feed it the right lumpy spheres, right? Yeah, they can. I mean, I think Jupiter has a fucking shitload, like 20 or 30. Let's see, real quick. He's not in his blueprint yet, so Jupiter planets count. 70 fucking 9. 82. Jeez. It's crazy. Provisional moons? Is that like they applied to be moons, but they haven't got their moon badge yet? I like asking questions and then like immediately finding out the answers. This is one great thing about the internet. There's a lot of shitty stuff about the internet, but being able to just immediately satisfy your curiosity is awesome. All right, so how'd you do it, bro? Show me your blueprint. I take the old school Blizzard approach to learning how to do this, which is basically just cobble together things that you've seen from other people until something works, and then just like try to minorly improve on it. I think that I'm at the point, like, I also wanted to do this because I was considering applying for, like, some game dev jobs just for, like, fun, like, do something fun rather than do something just to make money. And, I think I'm at the level to where I could be helpful to a team. Yeah, this was, Platinum, this was posted yesterday. Or, no, it was posted, like, an hour ago or something. No, yesterday. And I was like, this is topical. His scale's a lot smaller than mine. It's probably a lot easier to work with. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the measure of, like, if you could do it professionally or not, right? Like, I feel like right now I'm at a level to where, like, I don't know a lot, but if I had, like, people who did know a lot around me, and I also had my ability to just use the internet to figure shit out, that I could be useful. I could do the C++ coding as well. I just haven't yet. Eventually, I'm going to probably reach some point where I have to do it. Now, I haven't coded in C++ in years, but that's just asking, like, Google how to do stuff. Yeah, like, cause like, you're you're kind of fundamentally trying to do the same thing in almost any programming language, at least any object-oriented programming language. So is like, you know what needs to happen, you just don't know how to do it, and 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 knowing how to do it is like the most trivial part of it. Like, knowing what needs to happen is way more important than knowing how to make it happen. Like, in the language syntax, because like an AI could almost do the syntax part of it. It's like the overall design of how everything connects. Oh, dude. Oh my god, that's brilliant. Oh, that's so fucking smart. Did you guys catch that? He's got a multiplier on his planets that multiplies the distance from the origin, which is brilliant. Because it would make it so that I could set it to like 0.001 and easily work with it. And then I could set it back to 1 when I want to actually fucking bake the game. If nothing else, I'm going to do that. And then you can select all of them at the same time and change it. Yeah, this is going to be super useful. And I want to build like ice worlds and lava world. I want like a folder with like 5 different planetoids for like each type of world. Hot world, cold world, gas world. Eventually. And then I'll randomize that shit too. Oh shit. Bump this up a little bit. I do the same shit. Jam it in, mistyped. Yep. Ooh, yeah, that's better than what I've got too. Hold up. Hold up, hold up. I can make immediate improvements with this. Alright. Sure. Nah, never mind. I don't need that shit. Okay. So. Oh. Shit. There we go. Planet. Rotation speed. Didn't think about the tick rate multiplier. Rotation speed. Z all make rotator add local. Okay, so this is doing what he was saying. I'm just not doing like the get add to yourself. But I'm using a local rotation instead of a world rotation. So that's fine. But this, I think he multiplied. Multiply delta seconds, multiply, add to Z. Oh. No, I don't want to do it like this. Actually. Delta seconds. The number of seconds since the last, yes, I do want that because that's gonna peg it to the like tick rate, which is gonna allow for more consistent control of it, I think. Wait, let me think about what this is really doing. So I'm assuming that the event tick fires like maybe 10 times a second. The delta seconds is probably the difference between the last tick and the current tick in milliseconds. And we're multiplying that by 10, adding it to its own. Yeah, I don't actually like this as good as the one I've got, to be fair. Because like here, I just have a rotation speed. It's whatever you want it to be. That's going to be the amount of degrees it rotates in a given tick. And I'm making a rotator, but I'm using a add local rotation. So I don't have to keep track of like the delta seconds or whatever, I don't think. Set world location. Okay, so and then this is where orbits come into play. So I already have this, and he's right here. I'm gonna need that, I think, because I think he had something similar. Okay, so I'm not gonna use this version. That's fine. Okay, wait, hang on. Go back. Back. Okay, go ahead. Hang on. I didn't know you could change this shit like this either. So event begin place set initial point of location. That's a transform, and then get actor transform. Okay. Oops. Sorry, it's gonna take me a minute to puzzle this shit out. Set. Okay. So why do you need this? I don't want to add this if I don't need it. So let's see. Sun distance, distance factor, radius. Oh, that's fun. But that's what I had. Is it gonna be is this gonna be a perfect circle? I was hoping for an ellipse. I mean, I'm not completely against perfect circles if it's the easiest way to do it, but yeah, you could maybe procedurally generate a spline mesh, or like have one. You could, but you'd have to also figure out how to parameterize making that spline at runtime. You could. Ah. I guess you could build like a set of splines that are different orbits. You could build like maybe 20 different splines and then just randomly pick one and then scale it up to have its center in the sun and its outer edge inside the center of the planet. If you had like 20 and you didn't generate more than like 6 or 7 planets per system, you would probably get a pretty good pseudo-random feel out of that. Sometime. Especially like comets. Comets tend to have really eccentric, or not eccentric orbits, but very like oblong. Did he? Oh. I'm trying to like comprehend everything that's going on. I'm super tired. as well. Emotionally burnout. So are they going in? How do you do that? Initial planet location, rotation. Okay. So he's binding. I mean, this sort of makes sense. So he's got some private variables that he's binding so that he can modify them at will, which makes sense. I could also do something like always have them spawn on the positive x-axis, and then you could just determine orbit distance by like a number that you feed it, which would just be the location of the planet, basically. Yeah, I'm not sure how much progress I'm going to be able to make in something complicated right now. Maybe tomorrow when I'm fresh. Yeah, I don't think you're necessarily wrong there. So I do want to try. I mean, this isn't super complex though. Like, this isn't a crazy blueprint. I'd have to pause it and make it. So I wonder if I can just see the finished blueprint. I don't necessarily need to see all the connections being made if I can just see the end result zoomed out. Ugh, fuck. Ah. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. It's not enough. Okay. Shit. I'm trying to get like frame perfect as it zooms in. I know that he probably has the file for free, but I actually like building the blueprints because I'm kind of learning how everything works. So like just grabbing other people's files kind of short circuits that learning process for me. And like I learn the most by like doing, you know what I'm saying? Like if I just load his thing, then I'll have it, but I won't understand how it works. Maybe the arrows are like seconds at a time though. I need like a scrubber. Let's see. Hang on. Nah, because when they show this little scrubber, it feels like you could go anywhere in the video with it, but that's not really how it works. It's just like they just sample the video at certain points in time, and then they divide it up so that they don't have to spend a shitload of memory. That's why it's like change, because like every 5 seconds it looks like they're grabbing a frame. Did he show it at the start? Let's see. No. This looks promising. The period. Ah, okay, I see. Learning new things all over the place here. I didn't know you could do that. Okay, it was closer to the end. I want to see like the last zoom in from... There goes. Alright, that's pretty cool. God damn it. But there's no... I mean, this is cool. And how did he... What did he attach the orbiter to in his blueprint? Was it the planet? I think it was the planet, right? Yeah. Which makes sense. Each planet possesses its own orbit. Alright. So... Hang on. I'm not gonna watch the whole other video. But I do want to see... I like sampling multiple sources. Yep. Yeah, see, this guy's using the spring arm technique. So, okay. So to create the spring arm and attach the sphere to it, okay, well, hang on. Before I do any of this, there was definitely one good idea that I'm definitely putting in there, and that's going to be... location scale. I think that's right. And that's gonna let me do this. Doesn't update in runtime like his does. Oh, okay. No, that's wrong. Nope. Nope. Oh. Wrong. Oh. back to this. That was early, right? This is smart. This is smart. I need to do this internally in here. Can I sort it? Okay, that's fine. Location scale, I'm gonna need. Planet, location. I do agree with the way, like, I didn't really think about doing it this way, but I do like this. And then instead of having to do all these set world locations with all this crazy shit, you can just do all that crazy shit to the variables themselves and just always set the world location to the variables. I think it's going to make it a little bit easier to work with. Planet location, planet rotation, orbit target. That's fine. I can use that. All this stuff will probably change. Planet location, planet rotation, location scale, and okay, so that should be good for now. And then, just to be safe, a little backup, learn my lesson from destroying things. Okay, so now up here, instead of this working like this, that so this is, yeah, see, I like this much better because I can just, like, the event tick stuff is simple. It's gonna set, and then we're gonna do, I didn't know that this was a thing, set world location and rotation for the scene. See, oh man, we can make this so much better. Boom. Oops. This makes me want to revisit like every old blueprint that I've made so far and do it this way. It makes me a little sad. It's like, I mean, it's inevitable when you're just teaching yourself something from scratch that you will encounter stuff like that. But it's like spending, 3 weeks building a bicycle and then finding out offhand that, like, you're building a bicycle the wrong way. So with these, and actually it would be sets for all those. Set, planet, location. Set, planet, rotation. And this would allow me to do things like set the planet on its like on a tilt, because it'll take its world location in by default, and then I'll only change the Z location from there. So you could like have tilted orbits with this, which is kind of neat. This is the last thing that happens at the very end. The first thing that happens is we initialize our variables that are going to control our position. Man, I wish I'd been building these this way the whole time. Rather than having like multiple sets and shit, you just control the variables and then have the event tick set to the variables. So scene component here. I'll break this pin link for a moment. Can I do this? Alright, this is our spinner. And combine rotators. Yeah. I think this is right. So to rotate, oh yeah, see this is great. We do that. This goes. Yeah, exactly. It's like shit. Because like this is closer to how I would do it in code. So it makes sense that you can do it this way. This happens once. I was just trying to make it compact. Okay, so this will make a new rotator that I can just set planet rotation, value, vent tick, bam, my planet rotates. Or wait, not exactly. And I'm gonna keep this for the moment. Okay, here we go. So it will eventually rotate. Oh, that's neat. Yeah, I've done a little bit of the debugging through this. I still don't understand it completely by any stretch. Okay, this is rotation. If I connect this to this, then everything starts working. Well, not exactly, because I'm not doing location yet. But, like, basically, what that turns this into is like a series of variable sets ending with set world location, all those variables. Please When you click on an event, it's the tick box colon editor. I'm not sure what you mean yet, but I'm sure when I see it, I'll understand it then. So at some point I'll stumble across it and I'll be like, oh, that's what he's talking about. I don't see it over here. Okay, so next is an orbiter. So what this orbiter does is it rotates its a vector around an axis. And I can give it a little bit of an orbit skew. Now I'm thinking, if I... Oh, it has to be a custom event. Okay, I see. I see what you mean. That's why I can't see it off the event tick, because it's just the default shit. Orbit target, get actor location. I want to start using this. So... I guess now... it's kind of back to the video here. Begin play, yes. New location, yeah. I don't know why I'm looking at the blueprint in the beginning of the video. That's foolish of me. Just this, using this instead, where I can set it all simultaneously once, is a big improvement though. New rotation X roll. I feel like there's I feel like there's like a lot of ways to do this, but what I should probably be doing is like there's probably like some like circle math that I don't remember from high school to make an ellipse that I could do. Okay, so this is setting the rotation. I'm probably not going to finish this tonight. Yeah, so it just becomes these two sets, I think. This one controls rotation, easy, done. This one controls location, not easy, at least not if I want it to work the way I want it to work. Although, you know what, for now, like, the fact that this is split up makes me feel better about going with like a temporary solution. The one thing I want to do I always kind of felt about math is like you shouldn't be afraid of it and you shouldn't be afraid to dive into it when you need it, but like there's no need to know how to do it. Like if a situation arises, I mean, you need to know how to do basic shit. But if a situation arises where you need to have some like big ass fucking differential equation or something, then when you get to that situation, that's when you go figure out how to do that thing. and like you just like all you gotta do with math is not be afraid of it. When somebody says like, oh, I can't do that, the math's too complicated, like, I mean, I've said that probably tonight, but I'm not saying that I can't do it because the math's too complicated. I'm saying that I can't do it because I don't have the time right now to figure the math out, but I'm not afraid to go figure it out. You know what I'm saying? It'll take a while, but like, there's no need to be afraid of it, because if you work at it, you can figure it out. But you also don't need it in your back pocket. You don't need to know how to do like a fucking matrix grid differential equation or shit, like, just for your daily life. Maybe one day you'll have a specific application for it, and then you go learn it. Exactly. It's all about patience and persistence. Yeah. And I've even seen it myself. Like, you'll be following a guide, and it's like, I have no fucking idea why they're like multiply power, multiply, add 5, divide by 7. Like, I have no idea why they did that. You know, like I get like, oh, I multiply the color with 100, and now it's fucking glowing. Okay, I understand that. So with this, it should work the way it was working before, but parameterized with the variables. Except this is wrong. It's actually, oh my god, amazing. Okay, I understand. Because this is what initiates it, and this is what's going to make it actually change things in the editor, I think. So now, wait, shit, did I make it private? Fuck, I made it private. Why did I do that? So now, if I do this, and I go and I say 0.9, fuck! Didn't work. Shit. I was sure that was gonna work. No. 100? It does. Yes. It makes sense. No. I think I have to like overhaul the whole thing. I'm not sure. My brain is really fuzzy. Today is not my banner day. I've had a headache for quite a while. Damn. Okay, well, I still need this. I just can't use this part. yet. I'm gonna come back to this video tomorrow and like I'll get everything working like really quickly probably, and it'll be easy. This happens all the time. I'll get like I'm at like the burnout phase of it. So let me see if I got my initial behavior back. So it should be, is this is setting the transform the same way I was, except for I'm setting it on the variable, and then I'm updating all three at the same time. And I'm changing this, on the scene. Yes. I had to figure out how to make all the procedural shit stick with the planet too. Okay, so we've got our initial behavior back, but in a better formatted way. I'm pretty satisfied with that for the night. I'm probably gonna go fucking pass out. But I appreciate it. It was fun actually talking with you guys. So, later.